Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever felt like the harder you work, the less it actually moves your career forward? Like you keep delivering, you keep saying yes, you keep exceeding expectations, and instead of momentum, you feel stuck. If you've ever thought, why does it feel like I'm doing more and getting less? This episode is for you. Because at a certain point in your career, hard work stops being the thing that gets rewarded, and no one explains what replaces it. That's what we're going to talk about today. Ready? Let's dive in. Welcome to Career Growth for Working Women. This show is for women who are done waiting to be noticed and ready to be compensated for the value they already bring. I'm Shannon, a promotion and compensation coach, and I help women position themselves for real advancement, not by working harder, but by showing their value more strategically using what I call the 5% method. If you're ready for clarity, confidence, and career growth that actually pays off, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Want to talk about something that a lot of high-performing women are quietly struggling with, but almost never say out loud? That feeling that the harder you work, the less it seems to matter. And that is really an unsettling place to be, especially when effort has always been your edge. For most of your life and career, hard work worked. You stayed late, you figured things out, you took ownership, you were reliable, you followed through, and it paid off. You got promoted, you got trusted, you got recognized. So when things slow down or stall later in your career, the most logical response feels like doing more of the same. More effort, more responsibility, more preparation, more patience. But here's what no one really prepares you for. There is a point in your career where working harder does not make you more promotable. It makes you more utilized. And those two things are very different. Most women do not get stuck because they are not capable. They get stuck because they keep trying to earn the next level with effort when the next level actually requires clarity. That gap right there is where frustration lives. Because from your perspective, you are doing everything right. You're performing, you're contributing, you are carrying weight. And from leadership's perspective, you are doing exactly what they expect from someone at your current level. Effort becomes invisible when it's expected. And that is a painful realization for women who take pride in being dependable and excellent. Here's the part that often gets misunderstood. Leadership does not sit around thinking, she works so hard, we should promote her. They think, who already looks like the solution to the next level problems that we have? Who feels like a safe decision? Who already speaks, thinks, and shows up like someone operating at that level? Hard work alone does not answer those questions. This is where a lot of women start to feel resentful, even if they do not want to admit it. You watch people advance who do not seem to be doing more than you. Sometimes they are doing less. And you start questioning yourself. Am I missing something? Do I need to be louder, more confident, more political, more polished? But the issue is rarely about personality or confidence. It is about positioning. When effort is your primary strategy, your career will always feel heavier than it needs to be. Because effort has a ceiling. Value clarity does not. Effort says, look how much I can carry. Value says, look at the impact I create. Effort says, I will prove myself again. Value says, here's why my leadership matters. And here is where the relief comes in. You are not wrong for working hard. You're just at a stage where hard work alone is no longer the lever. And no one tells women when that shift happens. So instead of being coached into a new approach, women internalize the slowdown as a personal shortcoming. They push harder, they give more, they take on things they should not have to, and they quietly burn out while still being labeled high potential. This disconnect is brutal because it makes you feel ungrateful and ambitious at the same time. Like you should be happy, but you know you're capable of more. So here's a reframe I want you to sit with. What if your career does not need more effort, but a clear story about your value? What if the reasons you feel stuck is not because you're underperforming, but because your impact is not being named in the language leadership uses to make decisions? That is not a motivation problem. That is a translation problem. And once you see that, a lot of pressure comes off. You stop trying to outwork the system. You stop assuming exhaustion is the price of ambition. You stop believing that carrying more is the same as being seen as more. The women who move faster at the next level are not the ones doing the most. They're the ones whose value is easy to understand, clear, specific, aligned with what leadership actually rewards. If working harder used to be your superpower and now it just feels heavy, I want you to know this. Nothing has gone wrong. You are not losing your edge. You are outgrowing a strategy that used to serve you. And the next level will not be unlocked by pushing more. It will be unlocked by positioning your values so clearly that effort no longer has to speak for you. That is the shift. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let that sit with you this week. Notice where you're still trying to earn what should already be clear. And I'll see you next time. Before you go, I want you to know this. You don't have to figure out your next move alone. If you're feeling stuck, under-recognized, or unsure what's realistically possible in your current role, I offer promotion strategy calls where we walk through your goals, your role, and what makes the most sense for you next. No pressure, just clarity. You can book that call through the link in the description. And if this episode resonated, would you share it with another woman who might need it right now? Leaving a review also helps this show reach more women who are ready for real career growth. I'll see you next time.